Hi everyone, you're listening to the Earful Tower podcast. My name is Oliver G. This is a show all about Paris and sort of interesting people in Paris, documenting my interesting finds in the City of Lights. Today, I want to tell you a story. About a year ago, for you guys who are new around here, you might not know this. About a year ago, when the first severe lockdown ended, we ended up staying in the 7th arrondissement in a Paris Perfect apartment. And for 2 months, we explored Paris from a whole different side of town. We were living in Montmartre before that. And while a lot of things were closed, we still got a really good feel for this district, the district with the Eiffel Tower, the Musée d'Orsay, the Seine River, really lovely place. And I was like a kid in a candy shop, going wherever I could, looking wherever, looking inside courtyards, trying to get into old fascinating buildings, marveling at the architecture. And one of the shops that was still open were the pharmacies, because obviously it was deemed to be a necessary store. And I found one on Avenue Rapp and Rue Edmond Valentin. So it's on the corner of those two streets in the 7th. And I went in one day. It was for nothing serious before you get worried. And it was a year ago, so you shouldn't be getting worried. Anyway, I walked in there and I was just amazed by the details in the pharmacy. And I get chatting to the pharmacist, and I point to the sort of these original wooden fittings behind it. All the stuff in there was modern, except the ceiling and the cupboards, and some of the signs were quite old. There was a sign for alcool de menthe, like mint alcohol, which was some kind of cure for something. Who knows? I was just looking around, taking pictures, and we got chatting. And it turned out that this pharmacy was about 100 years old. And the more questions I had, the more she was really getting into it, telling me the story about it all. Really lovely lady. And then she said, jeune homme. She called me jeune homme, which I love, young man. She said, jeune homme, if you like pharmacies, there's a much better one around the corner on Avenue de la Bourdonnais. And I said, I took my leave and I went to check out this one. And if you're ever to do the same walk, you'll find it's a really brilliant one. You just go straight down Avenue Rapp, which goes past the magnificent door by La Virotte at number 29, the one that's often called the best facade or the most beautiful facade in Paris. And I continued along to number 52, Avenue de la Bourdonnais. It's actually number 54, but they've got the old signs out the front. And just looking at this place can take your breath away. This is a pharmacy, big, huge glass windows, so even if it's closed, you can look inside it. And sort of a big original sign out the front that says Pharmacie de la Bourdonnais, and it was built around the year 1900. So you can imagine all the history that this pharmacy has witnessed. This is, that's like around the time when the Eiffel Tower was getting built, when half of Paris was getting built, including all the buildings that surround it. And when I was there, I, once again, like a kid in a candy shop, had my face pressed against the glass looking in at all these magnificent details, but it was closed. They had these beautiful tiles on the floor, more wooden fittings, those big sort of liquid-filled balls at the front in the window, which the previous pharmacy, she told me they're phosphorescent light to show that they're open, but more on that in a second. Anyway, it was closed. I went back in the coming days, found it was open. The chap that runs the place was really friendly, and he said, I said, can I come and take some pictures? He said, ici c'est chez vous. This place is your place. So I went in and I took some pictures and got chatting with him a little bit. And I just shared a little Instagram story, which I shared in the highlights, and that was a year ago. Anyway, flash forward to now. As it happens, I'm living in the 7th arrondissement again, and I found myself walking past the pharmacy again. And I don't know, the past year I sort of have grown this new appreciation for Paris, new sort of architectural details and everything. And I went in there again, and it was open. I got chatting to the guy again, and I just sort of really appreciated it even more for what it was. I was asking him all these questions about, the details, the history, the future of this pharmacy. And the conversation got quite interesting. And I said, do you mind if I come back with my recorder and we'll have a little chat? And he said, yeah, come back whenever you want. I'm here. And he sort of had there was a bit of sort of wistfulness in his voice, which I later realized was because he was soon to retire. And spoiler alert, he's going to sell the pharmacy. And double spoiler alert, he's pretty sure that it won't be a pharmacy anymore. So I kind of realized I was documenting a historical moment. This pharmacy, the oldest pharmacy in the city of Paris, maybe by the time you're next on Avenue de la Bourdonnais, it'll be who knows, a bookshop or something else. Maybe they'll strip the interior. Who knows what'll happen? But it seems very likely that it won't be a pharmacy like it is today. Even though it was open to the public, we sat on the big leather armchair there in the middle, and we had a conversation. Now, as you hear, I have my usual sort of enthusiasm and gusto for a podcast episode. There are times when today's guest, his name is Gérard Chavaroc, there are times when maybe he doesn't share my enthusiasm, and I think I understand it, you know. He's at the end of his job there. He's going to leave the district. There are fewer customers than he would like going in there. And he says it at one point, he says that a shop in a Paris neighborhood is like a garden. It depends on people tending to it to survive. So on that note, if you live in Paris right now, or if you're in Paris before it closes and you want to go and have a look, do everyone a favor and make sure you buy something when you're in there. Don't just go in there, take pictures. Buy some, buy a chapstick or buy a walking stick. Or buy a memento, or buy headache tablets. Just do something to keep him going. But anyway, here we are. Gérard Chavaroc, an episode of the Eiffel Tower that's a little bit different. Maybe capturing a slice of history before it disappears. Who knows? But once again, if you want to visit 52 or 54 Avenue de la Bourdonnais in the 7th arrondissement, I'll be back at the end with a few words. And here we go. Usually I say welcome to the studio, but we're in your studio today.
So, welcome in my studio, sir.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
And it is the most beautiful studio in Paris.
No, I think you have better studio. You have Le Louvre, Orsay.
That's true.
Yes.
And I have done an episode in the Musée du Louvre before, so this is second place at least. And let's talk about this place before anything else. For people at home listening who can't see what we can see, we're in a pharmacy on Avenue de la Bourdonnais.
Yes, true.
And it's a unique one.
Yes, the unique pharmacy of the Avenue of la Bourdonnais.
Okay, so let's talk about that. Let's rewind first. When did you take over this place?
15 years ago.
Okay.
Yes.
And why did you want to do that?
I don't know.
Yeah. Did you work in pharmacies before?
I want to be the owner of an old pharmacy.
So you like it as well then? You were interested in the building itself?
Less than my wife, but a little bit.
So what happened? 15 years ago, you're with your wife, you see that this is for sale. She says, I want it. And you say...
No. No, it's not the story, but... I've been visiting this pharmacy 40 years ago, and for one of my friends, because he wants to buy a pharmacy in Paris, and I have created my own pharmacy in the area of Paris. And a friend of mine says to me, go and for your friend and see my cousin. She is old and she has a pharmacy Avenue de la Bourdonnais. Mm-hmm. And she said to me, I want to die in my pharmacy.
Wow.
Yes, and she performed.
Really?
Yes.
So you mean the previous owner of this pharmacy died here?
Yes, and I come there after I sell my last pharmacy, and I walk on Avenue of la Bourdonnais, and I've seen it was closed. So I asked, where is the pharmacy? And they said to me, she died, and you can buy it in auction if you want. Mm. So I was the only one, so I've bought this pharmacy.
That's really interesting. Why do you think that you were the only person? Do you think because it's old that people were...
No, because it is a very small pharmacy, and in France, you have to have a size to survive. So this one was very, very small, so you cannot survive if you do the same thing like your neighbor. Mm-hmm. So I've decided to try to do different things. Straight razors, stick for walking, mm-hmm. Perfume, combs, brushes.
Is there rules, like you said it's a historical monument.
Yes.
Are there rules against you, if you had a business idea and you wanted to sell completely different things, nothing to do with pharmacy, or must it remain a pharmacy?
No, next shop will be, in this place, will be something else. because it's too small to be another pharmacy. So I will send my pharmacy to auction or library book or clothes shops with clothes. It can be a lot of things, but the next owner have to conserve the wood and what is classified.
Okay, well, let's talk about that stuff, because I can imagine there are many people who come in who are very interested in the wood, in the tiles. This is a very special shop. You've already pointed out some things, like the wood. What kind of wood is it, for example?
It's walnut.
Okay,
yes.
And there's intricate carvings all over the place.
The carving, you have poppy flowers on each side, and you have a symmetry with a barometer and a clock. And just at the middle of the pharmacy, you have curved the stick of Esculape between the two snakes, the symbol of the pharmacy and the medicine.
Is that like the symbol of...
It is a caducée. I don't know, you understand this? The symbol is a caducée in France. You have doctors and pharmacies, they have the card of the pharmacist and the medicine. It is the symbol of you can see. It's green for the pharmacist and it's red for the doctors.
Is that true? And there's snakes wound around that kind of torch.
Yes.
It's probably a thing all over the world and I just don't know about it.
It comes from Greece.
Uh-huh.
A Greek named Esculape.
Esculape.
Yes, and if I well remember, it must be at Delphi, a city of Greece.
Okay, and so that suggests to me, if they have all this in the original wood paneling, that this has been a pharmacy since the beginning.
Yes, since the beginning, it was a pharmacy.
And that's 1909. So 1909.
Yes.
Now this is fascinating because this whole area of Paris, and I know that you know a little bit about this, the whole area of Paris in 1909 in the 7th arrondissement, a lot was happening.
Here we were in the Champ de Mars. It was a field before, and after the last Universal Exposition, they have created this avenue, Avenue de la Bourdonnais, and behind the field you have Avenue de Suffren, and it has been created after the last exposition. So the pharmacy arrived at this time.
Okay, and the big Champ de Mars field is sort of to my left there. Avenue Suffren is Suffren.
It's just behind, right, after the Champ de Mars.
And then this street here would have been
created. So you see, just in front, the buildings are different on this side than in this side. In the side of the pharmacies, it's more rich because it's a Haussmann construction. More elegant, more rich. And there, just in front, it's more. It was for military workers, and you see, it's not the same buildings.
I hadn't noticed that, but for people at home who don't can't imagine it, perhaps the Haussmannian building is kind of what Paris is very famous for. Beautiful. Are you a fan? Do you like the Haussmannian buildings?
Why not? You see, each century have these kind of buildings. The seventh years, you have a castle with Versailles. It was more elegant.
In the 17th century,
yes.
18th century, yes.
17th. Louis XIV, 17th.
Yes.
But if you are poor like me, you prefer Haussmann than work buildings.
I see. And then
in England, they have also... In Australia also you have different type of architecture.
True. But there's a big difference. In Australia, we don't have any pharmacies from 1909.
No, because your country is younger.
Exactly. But this...
not younger, but
exactly.
Young.
It's young. It was settled by the white man a lot later. I mean, they have cave art in Australia that's 40,000 years old. But that's a whole different podcast. These buildings on the other side of the road, they look very average compared to the sort of typical 7th arrondissement. I heard something that a lot of the people working on, for example, the Eiffel Tower, lived in these workman buildings. Do you know anything about
that? Because, Eiffel Tower was built with other construction of the universal. So you have a lot of different building. So I don't know, a lot of workers.
Yeah.
You have also a train which was running around all the pieces of the Universal Exposition. So a lot of people, it was a world exposition. So I think workers were dispatched in Paris, but where I cannot tell you.
I think it's what interests me about those Universal exhibitions. There were a few of them, and it seems to me that only the Eiffel Tower is the thing that remained.
No. Just in front the Seine, Trocadero. It was also a souvenir of Universal Exposition.
In fact, now that I say it, I realize that also the Grand Palais, the Petit Palais, the Musée d'Orsay, which was the train station.
No, Musée d'Orsay, it was already a railway station.
Yeah, but I think that they inaugurated it for the World Exhibition.
Maybe.
Anyway, I've gone off topic again. There's something I really want to ask you about when it comes to pharmacies. It seems to me in Paris that there are very many of them. Like
yes.
Anywhere
yes.
you stand in Paris, you can see 2 pharmacies maybe.
Yes, but less and less today.
Really?
Because they close one after one.
Right, one after the other. Why is that?
Because you the benefit you make today is less than 20 or 30 years ago. So if you make less benefit, if you want to pay your charge, you have to increase the volume of what you sell. So if the volume doesn't increase, you die because you cannot pay your charge.
You've been here for 15 years. Does it worry you at all that this won't maybe be a pharmacy again?
No, it's life. If people want to have this pharmacy to continue like a pharmacy, they have to come and become customers. If they only take pictures and say, "Oh, it's nice," so they will make pictures with books inside.
But you're quite sure that you're going to retire.
Yes, I would like to retire. Very soon, but you know, shopkeeper in a street or in an avenue, it is the garden of people who live in the area. If they don't treat well their garden, the garden is die. So if you are the garden, you cannot do you do your best. If they don't want, you retire.
Interesting thought. I mean, I assume that there are a lot of tourists, especially with the Eiffel Tower right there, who want to come into this pharmacy and look.
Yes.
I can guess that you're very accommodating, because when I came in, you said, c'est chez vous ici.
Yes.
But does that worry you that people don't buy things, or like?
But there is no more tourists. You can see.
Of course.
You have a lot of strikes in Paris. You have a lot of manifestation. You have the virus COVID. So you cannot struggle against all this. So I surrender.
You surrender. Well, what I think is there will certainly be people listening to this now who think that they'll want to come in and see for themselves. I'm saying to you guys, make sure you buy something when you come in here. There's plenty of things here, even if you don't need something for your health, you know? Buy a walking stick, for example.
I think I will be retired before they come in France.
Do you really think?
Yes.
No, but what if they come from Europe?
Yes, but it's too late, because I think I will sell my pharmacy in the next months.
I understand. Well, it's been very interesting to come in and see. I'd like to finish on asking you about like which pieces are particularly favorite to you. Like, for example, this steam run heater, which I think people could probably hear in the background when we were talking because it was making noises. That's very beautiful in itself. The is that an umbrella rack? That one there for umbrellas?
Yes, umbrella and stick.
That's also very beautiful. But do you have a piece that's your favorite?
In the decoration of my pharmacy, no. No, I like all you can see, all you say. It's decoration, like this English library book.
This here?
Yes.
What is that? Is that for books?
Yes, it's made for book.
That's fascinating. Also walnut?
No, not this. Acajou, I cannot translate. I knew it, but I forget it. So you see, it's made to put books. You have very tall books, low, and after you have in quarto, in octavo, small books up, and heavy and big books at the base to have stability.
I love it. And the one question, and there's the sound of the heater for people wondering what that is. But the last question I have is these large sort of spherical glass balls with some kind of liquid inside.
Yes.
They
It's purely decoration.
Okay.
Yes.
So what is it inside it? Like, are there different colors? I see some are yellow, some are red.
Chemical color.
Okay.
Yes, but very well with a good stabilization, because usually you see you have two phase, a white one water and the color under, and that it's very well made. It's stabilized with ammoniac and a lot of filtration, so it's perfect. I've never changed it.
Wow. That could be 100-year-old liquid in there. And it catches Parisians' eyes when they walk past like moths coming into the flame to buy products from you, monsieur, I think. I actually do have one last question. For the people that live in the neighborhood in the 7th arrondissement,
Yes.
do you find that they're a different kind of Parisian to people in elsewhere in the capital city here?
Yes, of course, for a simple reason, because to have your own flat in the area of the Eiffel Tower, it's very, very expensive. So you have to be old and rich. So it's not obvious. And you have also a lot of very rich people from the world who like to have a flat in Paris near the Eiffel Tower, American, Brazilian, Morocco, Arabian, Saudian. So it's quite special, because also they are not in Paris all the year. They come and visit Paris a few days in the year.
It's a little bit crazy, isn't it? Because it means that the apartments are often empty.
So you have to go in Venice. It's the same thing.
It's the same thing there?
Yes, of course.
Well, there you go. Maybe one day when I'm old and rich, I'll own an apartment in Venetia and in Paris as well.
Venice is a very nice city.
Yeah.
Yes.
Hopefully it's still above water by the time I buy my apartment there.
Yes.
I think there's a customer. Shall we let them in? Okay. Oh,
No, I
we
think
scared
it's
them.
not. She's gone.
Okay, now that I've cost you a customer, I feel terrible. So we can wind up this interview. And I just want to thank you for having me in your pharmacy today.
You are welcome, sir.
So there you have it. That was Gérard Chavaroc in the 7th arrondissement. As I said, if you visit, make sure you buy something or say hello. He's a very friendly guy. If you're interested in finding the other pharmacy that I mentioned at the very start of the episode, it's at 23 Avenue Rapp, R-A-P-P. And I can also recommend the bakery Laurent B. Laurent, Laurent B, which is on Rue Saint-Dominique in the 7th, which is also designed in a really old school style, like 100 years old, with beautiful decorations inside. In fact, there are a lot of buildings in the 7th, butchers and bakers and candlestick makers, that have this this ancient kind of vibe. I say ancient, 100-year-old vibe that I really like. So maybe I'll do more on that in the future. But look, let's finish on this. In my newsletter, which you can subscribe to on theeiffeltower.com/newsletter, one of the recent ones that I sent out, I said, look, all I ask from you guys is that you leave a review of the show. I'm not going to try and sell any books or anything to you today. Leave a review. And a bunch of reviews came out, so I thought I'd just read one out. This one's from Dime a Day, who says, 5 stars, this always makes me smile or laugh out loud. I came across this podcast while waiting for a trip to Paris in 2020, and we all know how that turned out. Why, yes, we do. I've so enjoyed listening to each episode as we can travel vicariously through this. He is eternally upbeat and makes me smile or laugh out loud during each episode. That's good to hear. Brings Europe to life to us back here in the States, gives us something to look forward to when we can travel again. Also enjoyed the walk show. So fun to be able to join in on a live walk show and see the comments of all the other participants. Please keep this great content coming. Look forward to more. Don't you worry about dime a day. I will. Thanks for the review. Let's do 2 more. I'm on a roll here. The most relatable and engaging podcast, says Tanya in Paris. From crocodiles to little red scooters and everything in between, we love Oliver and the Eiffel podcast. Highly recommended for expats in Paris, dreamers and travelers. Bringing all the best delights and quirks of our beloved France to life with some decent hints and storytelling. It inspires our whole family. Thanks, guys. Now my kids have a bucket list, which includes milking a live cow. For an Australian expat Parisian, now Amsterdam superfan. Hang on, so you're an Australian ex-Parisian, now in Amsterdam superfan, Tanya? Whoa, what a mouthful. P.S. Grab the book too and never drop a spanner when fixing a tap. There are a lot of in-jokes in there from Tanya. Tanya in Paris, in Amsterdam. That I think only the people who follow closely will get. Like the spanner and the fixing the tap and the crocodiles and the live cow. Thank you very much. Let's finish on this one. The most comprehensive podcast about Paris and France, says Jacqueline. She says, though I've not listened to all the episodes, I plan to catch up eventually. What I enjoy about this podcast is that the subjects and guests are so varied that you can very much pick and choose which episode is right for you. Yes, Jacqueline, that's how I always encourage people to get in. You scroll through, see what jumps out at you. I originally chose the episodes with guests that interested me like Dave Leibovitz, Lindsay Tremuda, or Anne Stark-Dittmeyer. But then I marathoned the season Oliver and Lena traveled around France for their honeymoon as I participated in the Champagne grape harvest, going places I knew less about, such as Cognac and their Gratte. Is that what they're called? Gratte-bot? Gratte-bot. This is, when I was in Cognac, I was obsessed with these little shoe scrapers that were built into the wall. There's a blog post about it. If you Google the Eiffel Tower Cognac, I'm sure you'll find it. Oliver's curiosity makes him a wonderful podcast host with a great sense of humor. I don't know how he has time to do the YouTube, Instagram, write 2 books, but somehow he has. Listen to this! Fin. That's lovely, Jacqueline. Thanks very much. I don't know how I have the time either, but I can give you this great hint, and I'll end on this note. I don't have the time now, especially that there's a baby coming any day now. So I'm going to wind things back a little bit. Some podcast episodes coming up, as I've mentioned in previous shows, will be the audio experience for my book, Paris on Air, while behind the scenes I'm welcoming a new member into our little family. But I'll be back with a gusto. There's another children's book on the way. There's another adult's book. Sounds weird to say adult's book, doesn't it? A follow-up to Paris on Air is in the offing. It's not far away. And look, everything else is going to keep trundling along. So everybody, thanks so much for listening. I'll be back next week with either a new episode or part 1 of my audio experience, depending on how the world works out next week. And thanks very much for listening. My name's Oliver G. This is the Eiffel Tower. And if you see an interesting looking building in Paris, always walk inside. Whether it's a courtyard, a supermarket, a bakery, or indeed a pharmacy. Have a great day.